are just underway with Alan Pecker in the lineup spot. Not really a lot of time to talk about it to this point, but because of an injury and just some things that have occurred for the Chiefs on the weekend, Allen moved up for this game into the leadoff spot. Normally that would be occupied by shortstop Shane Boland, who finds himself in the 4-hole. Great to have you with us, no matter where you're looking on this beautiful Sunday in Mitchell, Ontario. These two teams did meet, by the way, in the round-robin portion of the competition, with the Gremlins knocking off Hill United by a score of 4-2. And Osichka starts with a strikeout of Alan Pecker. As far as the Gremlins are concerned, they lost their opening game to the Northeast Drillers and then have gone unbeaten ever since, including a convincing 9-2 triumph earlier today in their semifinal triumph over the Toronto Batmen in a game that was shortened. It lasted only 6 innings. And the batter, he's the designated player to begin, Bradley Ezekiel. Ezekiel 7 for 28 on the season, 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in. He was 1 for 3 in the game against JDT. Looking for his first hit of the season in the third meeting of these two rivals. And tried to stay back on a changeup, hung in the air to Ladislav Malerzuk, who has no trouble for out number 2. Quentin Bruce is the batter. The 30-year-old, 8 for 30 now. 3 doubles, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. 0 for 2 with a walk in the game earlier against JDT. Osichka on the season, 17 2/3 innings, 2 runs is all he has given up. And he was brilliant in the first meeting of these two teams a week ago Friday at the Bear Creek Classic when he no-hit the Chiefs for 5 2/3. Pitched 2 innings against them in this event. And has really, at least to this point, taken another step, which is great news for the Gremlins. Home plate umpire is Frankie Billingsley. If you don't like Frankie, you flat out don't like humans. She has just some of the world's greatest energy. As Bruce fouls that back. Ed Otterman is over at first base. And we'll check in the half inning for who's over at third. Sun and the Eisen have had about 3 seconds to scramble to get ready to call this one. Wonder how difficult it can be to come off that kind of an emotional win, and then 30 minutes later, you've got to go back to business. As Osichka ties up Quentin Bruce, and he continues to work effectively in this particular matchup. We'll set the Gremlins batting lineup and the Chiefs defense when we return on Championship Sunday of the Canada East Tournament here in Mitchell. A 1-2-3 inning for Hill United offensively. Now we get a peek at the Gremlins lineup. Jerome Remeke in the 2 spot. Ochoa, Lucio Retimar. One of the key players early in the season has been the youngster in the designated player spot, Tani Mumu from New Zealand, a speedster. And he is 10 for 17 early in the year. As far as the matchups between these two teams, and this is number 3, the key player in both wins offensively for the Gremlins, none other than Cole Evans, who drove in 3 runs in the 4-2 victory yesterday. Tyler Randerson gets the ball behind home plate. Luciano Biondi around the diamond. Blake Hunter at third, Shane Boland at short, Lenny Villavazzo, Tony Gonzalez in the outfielder. It is from right to left, Alan Pecker, Nick White, and Quentin Bruce. And the pitcher, Tyler Randerson, in his first year with Hill United, 3-1 is the record. He has pitched 19 2/3, including 2 1/3 innings in the game against the Gremlins yesterday. That game gave up 2 runs, 5 hits, struck out 2 and walked 3. Is Ladislau Malarczuk, the longtime Argentine national team member, in the leadoff spot for this game. And this guy has been an excellent player for the Gremlins for many, many years. 31 years of age now. He'll turn 32 on September the 13th. Two for 10 last weekend at the Bear Creek Classic. And a swing and a miss on the rise ball from Randerson, his first pitch. So Marco Diaz came on in relief of Justin Schofield in the comeback victory. So it is Randerson to begin in the circle for Hill United. And in fact, 5 of his best innings, maybe all of last year when he was a member of the Toronto Batmen before making the change in the offseason, came at the USA Nationals against the Gremlins in the Chiefs' only win in 4 tries against the Gremlins last season. He was terrific in that 7-1 victory. And hoping for more of the same on this Sunday afternoon, and it starts well for him as he catches Malarczuk looking for out number 1. And here's third baseman Jerome Remeke, longtime member of New Zealand's national team, the 31-year-old from Wellington. He's 12 for 24 early in the year, 4 doubles, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. And a changeup down in the zone. Remeke coming off a big performance in the semifinal earlier against the Toronto Batmen. He was 2 for 3, a double, and a home run. As he is absolutely connecting on all cylinders to begin 2026. And he has yet another base hit. So the hot bat of Remeke continues. And he had to change bats yesterday because one snapped right in his hands and on a swing at the bottom end of the bat. But this bat doesn't seem to be hurting him at all. Generally, when you're going well, you don't want that piece of equipment to go on you. But he has absolutely had no issues. The center fielder from Auckland, New Zealand, Beninoka. And Randerson delivers a low rise for a strike. Ben's 9 for 27 on the season. And talking about grade A performances in a game, the one he is coming off of against the Batmen, 4 for 4, a double, a triple, and 4 runs batted in. Change up high in the air Ranging over is Quentin Bruce, and that is out number 2. Was really interesting for so many reasons. In fact, too bad that the world didn't have a chance to see the game on the other diamond. The 8-6 come from behind victory. There were so many twists and turns in the game. And Diamond 2 at this facility, its dimensions are just way larger than anywhere else that these players will play. It's 295 over there to center, 260 down the lines, and probably close to 280 in the gaps. And it did have a great effect on the game in a lot of different respects, as Eric Ochoa is the batter, the outstanding first baseman. And a quality changeup swung on and missed from Randerson. Eric's 9 for 24 early in 2026. He's homered twice and driven in 9. He was 1 for 1 in the playoff victory today versus the Toronto Batmen with a double. Two out and one on the Remeke base hit. Bottom of the first inning. So these two stellar squads played only 4 times last year, 3 in 1 tournament at the USA Nationals, formerly forever called the ASAs. The only other meeting last year came in this tournament in Mitchell. Not sure. Who knows how many times they might square off before this year. Their schedules, tournament-wise, as of last weekend, exactly the same, I understand, the rest of the way. Change up again, right at Tony Gonzalez, who steps on the bag to end the first. So 1 hit, 1 left. Championship Sunday here in Mitchell, Ontario.
Welcome to Monthill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon. Welcome to Monthill Golf and Country Club.
How confident are you in your organization's security posture? If your answer isn't 100%, you're not alone. Most organizations aren't doing enough to protect their data. And they know it. With Armitage Technology, you can stop worrying about IT security issues so you can focus on moving your business forward. Our experienced staff monitor and maintain your...
That voice that you heard on the commercial belongs to the gentleman who has orchestrated this marvelous event, Blair Setford. And he will join us for, I'm not sure, an inning or two. He's got 73,000 duties going on here this weekend.
Not quite, only 69,000 this week.
Okay, and maybe we'll try and turn you up, too. As Shane Boland is the batter in a different spot in the order. That's me, by the way, that you turned up. As Boland, hoping that maybe a move down the order is exactly what the doctor is looking for. He's 5 for 31 early in the year. This guy has been a tremendous player, and he is a fabulous leader. In getting to know Hill United up close and personal the last couple of years in particular, there is little doubt who in so many ways emotionally sets the table for the team. Facing Kuba Osichka. And Boland looks at a strike on the outside corner. And Osichka already with 3 strikeouts.
And he threw a real good game at the Chiefs in the Bear Creek Classic last weekend, too. And Peter, we've been talking off air about this. We've been talking about it all weekend. The competitive balance now between these top 6 teams that competed here in the white division all week. Anybody can beat anybody, it feels like, in any given game.
And the good news for softball fans, particularly in the province of Ontario, where the majority of this year's events are being staged, they're going to see a lot of the same kind of scenarios right through the ISC World Tournament starting on the 8th of August.
Yeah, it's just been a fabulous weekend here in Mitchell. The weather has cooperated with us. Just 3 spectacular days for ball. The games have just been tremendous here. The white division couldn't ask for anything more. This is everything that Joe Todd and I and others were hoping that this would be when we came up with this format and put this together, that parity was going to be there, and we're just going to see some absolutely fabulous ball games, and we have here this weekend again this year. The Red Division Championship game is underway. It's tied 3-3 in the 4th between Georgian Bay and Oswegan, and the Legends Championship is on as well. Coburg Force out in front 4-0 over the Bear Creek Storm in that one. So big thank you to all teams. We had 24 teams here this weekend. The level of play continues to get better every year. I just want to thank all of our scorekeepers who put up with technology as we implemented Game Changer in the tournament this year, continuing to try to evolve things, make things better. And Peter, you and Luciano and others, Steve Sabrin, who came by yesterday and did a couple of games for us here on the broadcast. I hope everybody around the world appreciates all the work that goes into that with Luciano, Carol, and others. Thank you for being here, and thank you, the audience, for joining us. We really appreciate the fact that you're here with us globally.
Lenny Villavazo, who walked it off with a 2-run homer in the semifinal win, goes down on strikes, and Tony Gonzalez, who Blair hit an absolute rope about 290 feet for a 3-run homer that turned the game from 6-0 into 6-5. It was a 3-run shot that got Hill United back in the game. And Tony, as you know, who is an all-world first-teamer at the ISC in Mankato, is off to a superb start in 2026. In fact, already he's 13 of 30, 5 home runs and 18 runs batted in.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me with Tony. He's been playing at a high level for a long time. I would take a team full of Tonys every tournament, and I'd win every time.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Such a gamer. And on the cover of the ISC guide, which finally has been printed and delivered. You'll see those in person next weekend. If you ordered one, we'll try to get to the mailings in the next couple of weeks.
You know what's the greatest part about my world? I don't have to get a mailed copy. At least I better not need to get a mailed copy.
I might send you one just for grins now.
Okay, well, that's fine. Kuba Osichka. Not sure any pitcher early in the year has shown more strides from 2025. A 1-2-3 inning in the second. The Gremlins will bat when we return to Mitchell. Cole Evans, Lucio Retamar, and Alberto Penuelas due up for the Gremlins, who have lost just once this season. They were the co-champions of last weekend's Bear Creek Classic. The championship game against JDT was shortened due to pouring rain in the fourth inning, with the Gremlins leading that game by a count of 1-0. And here is, in a sense, the guy who gives a lot of teams trouble. Cole Evans already has 5 runs batted in 2 games against Hill United this year. I think this gentleman right now is as fine a player as there is in the sport. In front of a changeup, Blake Hunter in time to get Evans. And when these two teams play for the Chiefs, anytime he makes an out is good news. So Blake Hunter stayed with it. A bit of a spinner. Stayed down and made the throw. And here is Lucio Retamar. And Randerson fashioning the change of speed well in the early going. Gets ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Retamar, 26 years old, from Argentina. Was 3 for 12 at last year's ISC World Tournament in Minnesota. Playing today in a regular position in right field. It's good speed, good contact type hitter. Again, the changeup. Villavazo knocks it down and recovers to make the play. And in the comeback victory at the other diamond today, not only did Villavazo walk the game off, he made a splendid diving play towards the bag that stopped a JDT threat. So many things occurred in that game. So 2 away for Alberto Penuelas. And he had a quality hack at that pitch. Oh for 3 in the game yesterday against Hill United. 4 for 21 on the season. Oh, my goodness. Hope Tyler is okay. That looked awfully uncomfortable in a number of different ways. He's shaken up. And Craig Lyons and Jeff Ellsworth are going to come out to attend. As you watch him trip and stumble on the landing spot, which has caused a few pitchers at this diamond some issues, including Jack Besgrove yesterday, who was shaken up on a planned attempt. And Randerson having some trouble, it would appear, maybe in that hip area where you turn. I think I just heard him say it is not a new thing. And the Chiefs certainly hope he is okay. the other thing about this year's schedule is it's busy, and there are very few, I don't know how to respectfully characterize it, but every game is a really difficult game for the best teams, and all 6 of them are elite teams in the ISC that you've watched and will continue to watch many weekends up until the ISC World Tournament at the new JDT First Energy Fields at Bear Creek, who will play host starting August the 8th. And gives me an opportunity as well with Randerson trying to make sure he's okay, and looks like he is not. So we'll take a timeout and be back as Justin Schofield, who pitched earlier today, will have to enter the game. Back with more on Championship Sunday at the Canada East Tournament. Unfortunately, Tyler Randerson unable to continue. And Justin Schofield, the 36-year-old, comes into the game. He started the semifinal affair against JDT First Energy, went 2 2/3, gave up 5 runs on 4 hits, struck out 3, and did not walk anyone. He has 52 strikeouts in 21 1/3 so far in 2026. And it is a very, very difficult position to be in for a pitcher. You know there's an opportunity that you might come in, but in no way, shape, or form can you really be mentally ready to follow up after an injury. And Schofield looked like after the game today that I'm not sure he's feeling 100% either. But here he is with 2 out and nobody on, and the batter, Abiardo Panuelos. Have to check with one of our wonderful scorekeepers, and Blair is so right. All the volunteers and everybody involved, the reason that these events go off and they make such a difference. So thank you from me as well. Ken, what was the count, my good man, when 1-1? So Schofield to come in, completing his warm-up pitches. Also gives me a chance to talk a little about next weekend. 12 teams will gather in Simcoe, Ontario for the annual Chiefs Challenge, another wonderful field. I really like the tournament format. 12 teams split into 3 pools of 4. 8 teams will make it into the playoffs. Quarterfinals, semifinals, and final on Sunday. The quarterfinals will take place on Saturday evening, and you can catch the majority of the action in a couple of places right here on Softball Premier TV, and locally, Eastlink Cable will also carry a number of games. So if you are in the area, I highly recommend joining the Hill United Chiefs for that annual event. So Schofield is ready. And we will continue on in this title game. These teams are not in the same pool, by the way, next weekend, at least to begin. Will I be surprised if they meet again? I don't know if I'd be surprised any weekend if they collide. And there's certain tournaments, like an upcoming event the week after next in Kitchener, where that's a 5-team event. The only team missing from the Kitchener tournament in the Tier 1 division that they're calling it at the tournament that will be held at the Peter Hallman Ball Yard will be the Northeast Drillers. The other 5 teams that are here in Mitchell in this division will compete, and they'll all play off against one another in the round robin. Change up. 2-2 as Schofield has entered the game. 3-0 officially on the year. 21 1/3, given up 8 runs. Struck out 52 and walked 5. And it is his 3rd appearance of the year against the Gremlins. Pitched 3 2/3 yesterday, gave up a run, 3 hits, struck out 7. And the count is full. 2 out, bottom of the 2nd. And Panuelos, good piece of hitting to just get enough of it on what appeared to be a low drop ball from Schofield. Little cloud cover, but really a terrific weather day. Very comfortable, pleasant, not too hot. Panuelos. Alan Pecker, it bounces just in front of him, and Panuelos will have the 2nd Gremlins hit of the game. So 1 on and 2 out for red-hot Tani Mumu. 10 for 17 to start the season. Played for his home country of New Zealand at the recently completed U23 World Cup, so that will tell you this guy is going to be around for a long time. I believe he turns 23 on the 24th of October. And was 2 for 3 in the win yesterday over Hill. In this case, Lenny Villavazzo takes care of business on a high pop-up. So Schofield on in relief in place of the injured Tyler Randerson, and through 2. We're looking for the game's first run in the final of this division of the Canada East Tournament.
Let's talk about a local one-stop shop. Live Well for Life is just that, a fitness, nutrition, and therapy facility all under one roof. Located at 3878 Wellington Street in Mitchell, Ontario, you can get so much done in just one visit. A full complement of staff on hand include chiropractic, massage, and personal training to get you back to your healthy self. Find them on the web at livewellforlifeinc.com or give
Live Well for Life, a proud sponsor of the broadcast program.
Blake Hunter, Nick White, and catcher Luciano Biondi, the scheduled hitters for Hill United. in the third inning in search of their first hit, as Osichka has retired the first 6 Chiefs he has faced. Blake Hunter, the 39-year-old from Nanaimo, British Columbia. Been a terrific player at this level for a long, long time now. Shouldn't say too long, because he'll get upset at me, and he's in just outstanding shape. Looks like he's got 4 or 5 at least left in him. 8 for 21 so far early in the season. 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and 6 runs batted in. He drew a walk in the game against JDT earlier today. Cole Evans up in the air and throws out Blake Hunter. Just another terrific play from the shortstop, Cole Evans. High in the air to collect it, came down, set himself, and threw a strike across the diamond. And here is Nick White. Had a tremendous 2025 for Hill United. He's represented his country now a number of times at several different levels, including the U23 World Cup and a Pan American Championship that have already been played. The changeup lifted in the air, but right at Redemar for out number 2. And it is the changeup from Osichka that in many ways has been the pitch of choice against the Chiefs in some key situations. He has used it a lot. And Nick White just failed to handle it. Luciano Biondi with a really important single in the come-from-behind win earlier today. Tied the game at 6. 5 for 19 on the year as the 23-year-old, who has great speed and tried to drop one down for a base hit. And Biondi has no shortage of tools in his box either. And I think he's just scratching the surface. Runs, has power, can play the small game, has an excellent arm, runs extremely well. I think for this young man from Parana, it's just more experience, and especially behind home plate. And what a great person to learn from in the veteran Bruno Matroni. And fouls it past John Hill, who was the head coach for Team Canada at the Pan American Championships. A gentleman who just absolutely loves the sport from St. John's, Newfoundland. Had a chance to make my way to Newfoundland last summer for the Canada Summer Games, a few days of the softball competition. And to say that John was a fine host would be a massive understatement. I don't think you could be treated any better. And what a tour of the sheds that I got. They love their sheds. They're kind of the Newfoundland version of man caves. And they are plentiful. Biondi, Evans spins, fires. Cole Evans defensively with a couple of dandies. And we'll head to the third in a 0-0 game in this tournament final on the home of softball, Softball Premier TV.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Matiosi. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making this suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Ketterson Park here in Mitchell, the host of this ISC Canada East tournament, and this is not the only division. Legends division and 2 others on top of, I guess, what you would call the Premier division with the 6 top-ranked teams in the early ISC World Rankings. Veteran catcher Nick Mullins steps in. I believe he's 2 for 15 now on the year. And Schofield misses away with ball 1. Mullins absolutely renowned in the sport for his work behind home plate, the way he calls games and handles pitchers. High in the air, Nick White will find it in the high sky. And there's one away in the third. And off the bat, from my vantage point, wasn't sure that he found it right off the hop. I know mom and dad and other family members, huge ball fans back in Nova Scotia, will, I'm sure, be tuning in, and a special hello to the White family. Mallerzook. Did he go? The answer is yes. Been a tough weekend on umpires here, too. Poor Dave Harrington in the game earlier today between the Chiefs and JDT took a Pipolo Lopez hot shot off the kneecap, and it was terrifying. Dave actually was able to continue for a couple innings before, and I think might have finished the game. Not sure how. One tough customer from Napanee, Ontario. And if you don't think the umpires don't take their craft every bit as seriously as the players, you're kidding yourself. It matters, and matters a lot. And they work very hard at it. And where would sports be without them? I know they're trying to change it, but I hope that's never the case. And Schofield on the corner and has his first strikeout of the game in relief of the shaken up Tyler Randerson, who got all twisted up on a pitch in the last inning. Brings to the plate third baseman Jerome Remeke, who has a hit in the game. And he has really been hot to start 2026. He's now 13 for 25. That same kind of wheelhouse as Hill United's Lenny Villavazzo and Tony Gonzalez. Hill United with one extra tournament. They won the Kelowna May Days event on the May long weekend. The Gremlins are 9-1 to start 2026. Hill United now 9-3-1. And a quality drop ball swung on and missed that time. Maybe even took a little bit off. Two and two after the rise ball found the top of the zone. Is Remeke taking some time to take a deep breath and step back in. Schofield back-to-back strikeouts to end the third. When these two arch rivals collide, rarely is it boring or not highly entertaining. It looks like we've got another one on our hands in the final this afternoon on Softball Premier TV. Top of the Hill United order, and Alan Pecker, who yesterday opened the scoring in the 4-2 loss at the hands of the Gremlins with a home run. And then last night, in a 5-2 victory over the Bear Creek Express that allowed Hill United to finish first in their group and avoid a quarterfinal today, he hit one, and I'm still not sure where it ended up. It was too dark. This one down the line, and look out, right over the fence went Abiardo Panuelos, and hope he's okay. What an effort he gives that to try and record the first out. And looks like he's going to be just fine. He gives the big thumbs up. Now that is selling out to try and make a play. Went you-know-where over tea kettle, as the old saying goes, to try and catch it. Drop ball just in. 1 ball and 1 strike to Alan Pecker, who's homered twice here this weekend and has 4 of them. And generally when he gets one, it's a no-doubter, as the second one was of the day yesterday. Both were, in fact, but there is a tent in right center, and the ball last night might have cleared where that tent is. It was a blast. So Allen with a hitter's count in this situation, trying to give Hill United their first base runner, as Osichka is retired the first 9 that he has faced. Neither of these teams' ace pitchers, 2 of the best on the planet in Hill United's Marco Diaz and Jack Besgrove. In a lot of these scenarios, they might face one another, but not today. Alan Pecker can make it look close. There's a bobble. On his way to second in time. And he has shown on a couple of occasions this weekend that he might be as quality a base runner, and it's not just the speed. It's the decisions he makes. Like even right there, there's no hesitation. So I would think he would reach there on an error. Hit and an error. Really tough from this vantage point from my angle. I had to kind of look through everybody. 3 players and the umpire. But Alan Pecker, with his 11th hit of the season and then the error, allows him to go to second. So Hill United with their first hit and a first runner in scoring position. First in the game, period. As Bradley Ezekiel takes strike one. One of the reasons Ezekiel has been renowned as one of the terrific hitters in this sport has a lot to do with what he does in games just like this, and he whips one off of Remeke, and Evans still finds a way to make the play. Cole Evans is putting on a bit of a clinic at shortstop. As that ball ate up Jerome Remeke at the hot corner, and Evans in a perfect spot and threw over the top to get Ezekiel for the first out. 5-6-3 is, I think, how that officially gets scored in the old book. So a chance now for Quentin Bruce to maybe cash in the game's opening run. Quentin has a couple of runs batted in this season. And a rise ball finds the upper portion of the strike zone. As Remeke and especially Evans combine to potentially save the game's first run. And Bruce had a quality turn and rip at that pitch. Because of the pitch-com system that both teams uses in terms of trying to potentially relay signs in this situation, far more difficult. And this time it's the drop ball that is the strikeout pitch for Kubo Sichka, who's up to 5 of those in the encounter. And Shane Boland would love nothing better than to drive in a run here. This one could be trouble. Tests Malherzuk, but shows good range to track it. So the Chiefs with the leadoff man at second base, but unable to move him. And it remains 0-0 in the championship final in Mitchell. Bottom of the fourth inning. these two in a tussle again. Which group is going to break through first? Center fielder Ben Anoka, 35 years of age. 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Gremlins. And Schofield pours home a strike. Ben has represented New Zealand on many, many occasions, including a silver medal winning performance at last year's World Cup in Prince Albert, where they fell to first-time champion Venezuela. And he had a big hack. Coming off a 4-for-4 performance earlier today in the semifinal win over the Toronto Batmen. Has one home run to his credit early in the season. And that one tailed away outside, and not by a whole bunch. You had to know that the Gremlins would be on a mission in 2026. They did not like how the ISC World Tournament went in Minnesota. A 6th place finish. They won another USA Nationals in Oklahoma City. That really has been their event to run with. They have won it, I think, 10 or 11 times now. Schofield with strikeout number 3, and that did find the outside corner. And there's one away. Eric Ochoa, longtime member of the United States national team. So many players in these respective lineups, you can absolutely change a game in one pitch. Just been a terrific display of fast pitch softball amongst these 6 teams this weekend. I've really enjoyed it. Be interesting to see how the Chiefs, and for that matter, the Gremlins, handle the game the rest of the way pitching-wise. As Schofield has fallen behind Ochoa. Two and two is the count. Ochoa, a 3-time All-World player at the ISC World Tournament. Was 3 for 10 at the ISC World Tournament in Mankato. Hit an impressive 364 for the United States at the World Cup in Prince Albert. There's lots of power. And tried to send one to Stratford, and that took a bite out of Luciano Biondi. And I don't think veteran catcher Bruno Matroni will be available if need be. Took a ball off the forearm in the game against JDT, and unfortunately for Bruno, had to leave. And you certainly hope that isn't anything long term. So another 2-2 pitch on the way to Ochoa. And he'll foul this away. Another good battle between these two. 2-1 and 4-2 Gremlins victories so far in 2026. Hill United would love to change that in this game. Count runs full on Ochoa. Cole Evans on deck. And he seems to love the fourth and the fifth inning in games between these two teams this year. And even last, for that matter. And a high-end changeup from Schofield at 3-2. Maybe as good a pitch as he's thrown in this contest. Pulled the string. And there's 2 away. And this is Evans. Grounded out to Blake Hunter at third base in the second inning. 9 for 23 on the season. Has homered a couple of times, both of them against Hill United. And we've already seen some of his wizardry in the field today. Started playing for his country of New Zealand when he was 16 years old. Was his first World Cup in Saskatoon in 2015. Off the bat, to the screen. Cole was 5 for 11 last weekend. Five for 13 versus Hill United in 2025. And a strikeout of Cole Evans. Justin Schofield has struck out his last 5 that he's faced in a row. We'll go to the 5th in a 0-0 tie in the championship game of the ISC Canada East Tournament.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here, you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon. Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club.
Let's talk about a local one-stop shop. Live Well for Life is just that. A fitness, nutrition, and therapy facility all under one roof. Located at 3878 Wellington Street in Mitchell, Ontario,
For the Hill United Chiefs in 2026, it's this part of the order that has been Danger Bay. Lenny Villavazzo, a game-winning walk-off home run, his 3rd of the year. He has 13 runs batted in. He's 15 for 31 And does he have another big hit in him again today? Lifted, but foul. Eight for 12 last weekend at the Bear Creek Classic, where Hill United went 2-2 and failed to make the 4-team playoff round. A different story for them this weekend as they're back in another tournament final. And Kuba Osichka has given up just one hit. And it was an infield single to Alan Pecker in the last inning. So the Chiefs yet to really make high-end contact. There's the changeup again. Mallerzuk does very well with a short hop, and those are not easy. Well done by the veteran second baseman. Read it beautifully. And now Tony Gonzalez. And Tony almost came out of his shoes on that swing. What a blast he hit on a line basically earlier today. A 3-run homer to turn what was 6-0 into 6-5 on the way to the Chiefs. Huge come-from-behind win over JDT, 8-6 in the semifinal. And Osichka finds an outside corner. And for what I have witnessed in the last couple of weekends, in some respects, this guy has been the early breakout player of 2026. And I'm talking about the 23-year-old pitcher, Osichka. Blake Hunter changes the storyline a tad with a solid single as he pulls it in the left. So that's what they call the somewhat of an announcer curse. Most of the weekend, when I've said some nice things, and I try to say nice things about everybody, it's what I've always believed in, and being behind a microphone for 4+ decades now. But sometimes it works really well, like Cole Evans today. Say nice things, and he goes out there and makes 3 wonderful plays. And Osichka, who deserves all the pomp and circumstance positively, in that case, gave up a hit. But still, 2 out, and Nick White, the batter. He had a really important 2-run single in last night's win over the Bear Creek Express. And as this season goes on, and all the times these terrific teams will square off, how do you make the adjustment? Both as a pitcher and a batter, not even Cole Evans is going to make that play. I'm leaving the booth if that one isn't out. And Nick White with another base hit. As he chops that down over Remicky's head, Evans was able to get to it, but in absolutely no position to make a throw. And for a second straight inning, Hill United with a runner in scoring position. Luciano Biondi, who cashed in a game tire against JDT. Can he drive in a go-ahead run in the final? Back-to-back hits for Hunter and Nick White. And again, it's the change. It's been his go-to and his difference maker. And it's not the only quality pitch he has. as he looks at the watch for the sign. And this time it's the high rise that allows him to get out of trouble. So he gives up a couple of hits, but shuts the door when he needed to with his 7th strikeout. Still 0-0 in the championship final in Mitchell. Lucio Rectamar, the right fielder, in the batter's box to begin the bottom of the 5th. It has been a dandy so far, and we are still in search of the game's first run as Marco Diaz about to start some warm-up pitches. Came on in relief of Justin Schofield to be the winner in the come-from-behind triumph earlier over JDT. And through 7 strong innings with a season-high 14 strikeouts last night versus the Bear Creek Express. Have yet to see any activity, and there could be some going on in behind of my vantage point for the Gremlins, but generally they'll warm up down their baseline as well by their dugout. And Schofield has really done a good job since replacing the injured Tyler Randerson with 2 out in the 2nd. Redemar got a piece of the rise ball. Lucio, part of a really large Argentine contingent. There's no sport or no country in the sport that has made larger strides than what has been the case the last 12, 14 years than Argentina. They've become a true softball powerhouse. They were favored last year to potentially win it all, but it did not go well for them. No swing. Schofield will get ready to toss a 2-2 to Lucio Rectamar. And Schofield, low rise in a fine spot. He has 6 consecutive strikeouts as he's set to deal with Mexicali, Mexico's Abelardo Panuelos. And on the topic of countries starting to really come into their own again, it's Mexico. Somewhat surprising winners at the Pan American Championship earlier this year, and look out for them on the international circuit over the next few years leading towards the 2029 World Cup. So Panuelos does get a ball and the bat on it for out number 2 as he flies out to Quentin Bruce. And now Tani Mumu. I've said it a number of times. There's about 3 or 4 players, and they're all young players, that I would love to see a 60-yard dash involving them. 2 of them, maybe 3 of them in this game alone, Mumu and Nick White. Be a heck of a race with Angel Adames of the Express and others. Popped up, an opportunity, maybe. And what a job by Blake Hunter to take charge at the screen. Really tough to see in the high sky and had everyone in a bit of a panic, including the broadcaster. But we are done 5, and it is still 0-0. Blake Hunter with a brilliant play at the screen to catch a pop-up to end the 5th. And here's Alan Pecker to start the 6th inning. And the Osicka changeup has been in fine working order. Great pitching on both sides in this championship game. Jack Besgrove now warming up as Marco Diaz continues, and we will very likely see the 2 aces of the staff before this final is over. A high pitch that Allen hits well out of play. The shuffle in the Hill United lineup today. Allen, more often than not, will hit in the number 7 spot, but move to the leadoff hole. And one of the reasons is he's swung it very well. We might be out of softballs pretty soon. And one of those balls out of play comes back in. Who's going to break through and capture this Canada East crown? The drop ball outside the zone, and Nick Mullins probably feeling like that new one is a little too new. They like them a little scuffed up and rubbed down. Not right out of the package. And the drop ball underneath the hands, and strikeout number 8 for Osicka. As Osicka continues to shine against Hill United. Bradley Ezekiel Will this be his turn to come up with another of his clutch hits in a big game? And really, so interesting, this circuit. You're trying to win every weekend. Feels like there's a lot on the line, and in many ways, it's all about gearing up for one event, the ISC World Tournament. The USA Nationals probably next in line, but nothing in the ISC like the World Tournament. That's the big one. And Ezekiel tried his best. That's the change up again. He looked to drive that the other way, potentially. One out in the top of the sixth. It's the rise ball, and a good one. Back-to-back strikeouts for Osichka, who has been arguably as impressive in this game as he was just over a week ago when he threw 5 2/3 no-hit innings against Hill United in a 2-1 win. They replaced him in that game late with Jack Besgrove, and chances are they might do it again, despite another fantastic performance from the youngster from Czechia. Quentin Bruce. Looking to keep the inning alive. The rise ball that gets away from Osichka on this occasion. And it has been rare. Beautiful day for a great softball game here in Mitchell, Ontario. Do kind of wish, though, there were a few more people here to enjoy it. These players are some of the best on the planet. Bruce fights it off. Panuelos on the run and makes the catch. So another 1-2-3 inning after a couple of opportunities in the fourth and the fifth for Hill United. They'll defend when we return on Softball Premier TV.
This business was opened in 1965 by my father, Ned Matiosi. Could have walked in here 25, 30 years ago and seen just about the same thing. The process of making this suit takes about 6 weeks. It goes through about 12 or 13 hands as it's moved along the line. It's an old-time place. Making stuff from scratch here in the city at a reasonable cost. It's a very personal type of business.
Number 9, 1 and 2 due up. Mullins, Mallerzoot, Remeke. For the Bear Creek Gremlins, trying to open their season with back-to-back tournament victories. They shared the crown last weekend with JDT First Energy in the first Bear Creek Classic, as the rains came flooding down in the fourth, and they led that game 1-0 at the time. Nick Mullins in the contest. The one at bat, he flew out to Nick White in center field. And Schofield has featured a pretty good changeup in this one as well. Schofield takes a little walk to the back of the circle, regroups, and settles in. And there's the changeup, but this one out of the zone. 3 balls and a strike. Count full. Hits have been at a premium in this game. 2, I believe, for the Gremlins. And 3 for Hill United. Make it another hit as Mullins just down the line at third. And Cody Gibbons will come in to run for Nick Mullins, who gets the job done offensively this time. Jeff Ellsworth, is he going to take the ball away? He's going to take the ball away, but what an effort from Justin Schofield in this one. Replaced Tyler Randerson, who was banged up in the second, gave up just the 2 hits, that being the second one. Had 6 strikeouts. Marco Diaz coming in. Game on the line. And the Hill United ace hopes to keep his team at 0-0. Back with that in just a moment or so on Softball Premier TV. Marco Diaz enters the game already with 4 1/3 under his belt today. Came on in relief to be the winner in the 8-6 come from behind semifinal win by the Chiefs in that game against JDT. Gave up 1 run in the 4+ innings he pitched. 2 hits, struck out 7, did not walk anyone. He enters this game with a runner on and no one out. The third Hill United pitcher to work in the game. Bunted in the air, and Blake Hunter with another fine play. Earlier, he made just one of the plays of the weekend for me, a high pop-up. Wasn't sure if it was going to stay in play or not, and he came all the way from third right to the backstop. Basically went through two of his teammates to make the catch. So the sacrifice attempt by Mallerzuk does not work. He pops it out to Hunter, and there's one away. And now Remicky, who's as hot as anybody, as one of the three Gremlin hits in this game. Spins in a low rise on the outside corner, much to the chagrin of the batter. Diaz the lean back and the follow through. And Biondi did very well to keep the ball in front of him. That's a really important play at this spot in the game. Keeping a runner out of scoring position. Marco, an impressive 7-inning, 14 strikeout performance last night against the Bear Creek Express as well. And Remicky sends that back. These two teams never saw one another at the ISC World Tournament last year. Never crossed paths. This already their third meeting in the first two possible weekends to play against one another. Remicky to Hunter. The turn in time. 5-4-3 as Viavazo turns it. And Diaz comes in and gets a pop out and a double play. To the 7th in this championship final we go in Mitchell. Have yet to mention it, but a very happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, wherever you might be watching, and I hope you're really enjoying this one, as these two rivals putting on a whale of a show in a 0-0 game, as we're about to start inning number 7. And for those of you who had supper plans and you're at the park, they might get delayed a little bit. Sorry, honey. Got a ball game to finish. Shane Boland. Right back to the screen, and Nick Mullins did everything he could to make the play. Terrific effort by number 3. Just eluded him. And scared the daylights out of me at the same time. Too old for those kind of collisions or things. 4, 5, and 6 in the Hill United order. And it's been a dangerous place, especially at 5 and 6 with Villavazo and Gonzalez. A 10th strikeout for Osichka. There's Nick Mullins. Lots of different chest protector. I'm old enough to remember the days where they didn't wear shin pads or a chest protector behind home plate. Somewhat like in hockey where they used to play goal without a mask. Don't think any of that stuff was a great idea. This is a pretty good idea to watch this game. Villavazo has another base hit. The 27-year-old from Mexico continues to deliver early in 2026. First hit of the day. And down, as I was looking at the scorebook, and this would be absolutely awful. Made the turn. And as you get a look at it, and Craig Lyons, the outstanding physical therapist, out to attend to a guy who has just torn the cover off the ball early in the year. It's already his 16th hit of 2026. And he's not going to be able to continue. And that does not look good at all. Well, it has been a tough day for the Chiefs in the injury department, and that one is a crusher. It kind of makes the rest of it feel a little different. Just hate to see anyone get hurt. And that one looks like it could be long term. And if I'm not, memory serves me correctly, it might have been in this park last year where Villavazo on a slide jammed his hand or wrist and missed a considerable amount of time. So Mitchell has not been kind in the injury department. It's certainly been fine when he's been healthy, especially this year. Tony Gonzalez, the batter. After the injury, Khalil Luna into pinch run. A Hill United newcomer from Argentina who had an unbelievable tournament at the World Under-23 World Cup. Tony Gonzalez. Last year had 27 runs batted in, has 18 already this season. Full count, 1 out. Luna runs pretty well. Not the kind of speed that the Biondi, a White, or an Alan Pecker displays. And Gonzalez looks at strike 3. And Blake Hunter, who's had himself a fine afternoon, a couple of dynamite defensive plays, and has a base hit. And Hunter patiently stays off a changeup out of the zone. We are in the 7th, and Hill United has to be reeling. They lost Bruno Matroni, their catcher, earlier today. That one might not be long-term. Lenny Villavazzo, who's been their top hitter early in the season, you hope that one isn't. But anytime a player is carried off, and Blake Hunter with a good at-bat to draw a walk, and the winning run is in scoring position for Nick White. And will that be potentially the end of the line? Greg Leather, the head coach, is going to come out and chat. And are we going to see Besgrove? We're going to see Jack Besgrove. We'll take a break. 2 on, 2 out in the 7th in a 0-0 championship final here in Mitchell. So Jack Besgrove, the ace of the Gremlin staff. However, the way Kubo Osichka has pitched early in the year, he's giving him a run for his money. Osichka 6 2/3 today, no runs, 3 hits, struck out 11 and walked 1. As Besgrove enters the game in a key situation. And part of it, I would guess, is a lefty-lefty scenario. Albeit in softball, that's nowhere near as prominent as it is in baseball, but it still can be an absolute factor. And the next 3 consecutive Hill United batters due to hit are all left-handed in White, Biondi, and Alan Pecker. Terrific ending to this tournament, and who knows where it goes from here. It's what you would have wanted in a title game. And White sprays it foul. Nick has a hit in the game. He delivered one off of Osichka, one of the 3, or make it now 4, that the Chiefs have in the game. As Besgrove gets ahead of Nick White, trying to end the threat. Chiefs threatened in the 4th, the 5th, and now here in inning number 7. And White able to stay off of the high rise ball. And that hits catcher Nick Mullins, who bounces up quickly, which is a good sign. I can't even imagine how many foul tips he's dealt with in his career. No, thank you. See what Besgrove dials up here for Nick White. The rise ball for strike three. As the Chiefs threaten, but way more importantly, lose one of their best players in Lenny Viavazzo. The bottom of the seventh. An opportunity for the Gremlins to win it when we return on Softball Premier TV.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca.
How confident are you in your organization's security posture? If your answer isn't 100%, you're not alone. Most organizations aren't doing enough to protect their data, and they know it. With Armitage technology, you can stop worrying about IT security issues, so you can focus.
Khalil Luna stays in the game at second to replace the injured Lenny Viavazzo, who looked to injure his knee turning first base after a hit. Is Ben Anoka to start it in the seventh, the number 3, 4, and 5 Gremlins hitters. They've played 3 really good games this year, and this one best of the bunch, and a Diaz changeup. Had an Oak out in front. Ball comes in from off the diamond. Another attempted changeup, but this one made it about 44.5 feet. 46 feet is the pitching distance. And on the outside portion, as Diaz gets Anoka looking for out number 1. It's Marco's first strikeout since he came into the game in place of Justin Schofield, who gave the Chiefs a whale of an outing himself. Eric Ochoa behind on the drop ball. I'd love to tell you about the velocity, and at this time of day, I cannot see my monitor to be able to tell. I'm going to have to buy my own tent for a monitor so you can see it in the sun. It is helpful to have. Eric Ochoa certainly can end it with one swing. Mind you, who can't in these lineups? dimensions here, certainly to center and in the alleys, a little deeper. The standard home run distance is about 250 feet. Here it's 245 down the lines and 270 as Ochoa fends off another changeup from Diaz. Eric has grounded out and struck out in the game. As Diaz grabs the Gorilla Gold for a little extra grip and misses upstairs. And Ochoa having a good at-bat. As Diaz right around that 85 and 86. That one, a rise ball that Ochoa swung on and missed. And the batter is Cole Evans. Has a couple home runs already this season against this opponent. And he is started with a first pitch changeup. Diaz shakes off Biondi one time. A ball and a strike with 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. In the game, the Gremlins have yet to have a runner past first base. The same can't be said about the Chiefs, who have threatened in 3 of their 7 at-bats, but unable to pull the trigger. Evans, high, but I think playable. A long fly out to center. And 7 is not enough. We're going to need a little bit more on this Sunday afternoon, Father's Day, here in Mitchell. It is rare, but in this scenario, we'll start the extra inning with the international rule, which means the last batter starts the next inning running at second base. That's where Nick White is. And Biondi with a terrific bunt. He's going to be safe, and quick snap throw as Nick White hangs on at third. A bunt base hit for Luciano Biondi, who delivered a huge game-tying single in the semifinal earlier today. Hill United trailed in their semifinal, in case you're just tuning in, against JDT First Energy 6-0, and roared back to win it 8-6 on a 2-run walk-off home run by Lenny Villavazzo. And Alan Pecker in an opportunity to cash in the game's first run. And Besgrove, who came into the game with 1 out in the 7th, misses up that time to Alan Pecker. This is a spot, when you're in this position, you almost have to, I would think, find a way to score. Pecker shows bunt. Pulled the bat back. As head coach and GM, soon to be ISC Softball Hall of Famer Jeff Ellsworth flashes the signs down at third. The count is even. Even defensively with your middle infield. And Alan Pecker looks at strike 3. As Besgrove dials up an excellent pitch. And now, with Brad Ezekiel coming up, Greg Leather and his group is going to meet and decide how they want to deal. They might think about putting him on. We'll see how they handle it. Well, if you are the Chiefs in his long, glorious career, this is the gentleman you would probably want up in this spot. Although he would be the first to admit it has not been his best weekend. And Besgrove working well against Ezekiel. 1 out in the top of the 8th. And Ezekiel stays away from that rise ball. This is what it's all about here. Great pitcher versus great hitter. Ezekiel, high, deep. He did it again. Why are you one of the best to ever do it in clutch situations? There's another example. Brad Ezekiel, a 3-run homer. And Hill United jumps on top. Named the best player of the decade in the ISC between 2010 through 2019. And it has been a tough weekend for him by his incredible standards. But again, when his group needs him the most, got all of it. As Quentin Bruce steps up. Drop ball in a good location. For Brad Ezekiel, his third home run of the season. As Bruce fouls it off. Brad with a 3-run home run here on Friday night in the Chiefs tournament opener versus the Toronto Batmen. That got the Hill engine started. It was a 3-run homer as well that turned 0-0 into 3-0. He's done the same again, but different stakes. But the Gremlins more than capable of coming back in the bottom half. Bruce on one big hop to Ochoa. And there's 2 away. Two down as Shane Boland comes to bat. In my sleep some nights, I must admit. By Brad Ezekiel. In tight on Boland. Quite a ball game here this afternoon between these two arch rivals. And Boland with a strike into left with authority. And that will have the captain feeling a little better. And a big smile on Shane's face. And somewhat like Brad, to even a bigger extent, it has not been his weekend at home plate. But when you are a tremendous player, and you've done this for a long time, you always have those kind of experiences to rely on. And the mark of really, in many ways, greatness in almost anything is not how you perform when it's easy, but how do you deal when it isn't? It's Khalil Luna is the batter in place of the injured Lenny Viavazzo, and The Chiefs hoping for the best, as he was literally carried off the field earlier in the game. Luna, another youngster from Argentina, in his first year with Hill United. Has 5 hits for the Chiefs in year number 1. And Luna having himself a good at-bat against Jack Besgrove. Those two would have squared off at the recently completed U23 World Cup. Where Luna led that entire tournament in runs batted in and was 10 for 19. Besgrove wins that battle. But Bradley Ezekiel won one much larger earlier in the inning. He goes deep, a 3-run homer, and now the Chiefs 3 outs away from winning the Canada East ISC tournament in Mitchell. Don't go away. You never know when these two teams get together. Three nothing to the bottom of the 8th, the extra inning. Playing with the international rule, which means you start a runner at second base, the last player to make an out, which in this case is Cole Evans. Lucio Retamar, the batter. Brad Ezekiel, a 3-run no-doubter to right center off Jack Besgrove to give Hill United the lead. Now can Marco Diaz make it hold up? Facing the number 6, 7, and 8 batters in the lineup. And when you score 3 as opposed to 1, maybe even 2, but especially 1, you really take a sacrifice type bunt to make sure somebody's at third. As Retamar misses on the drop ball from Diaz, who came on in relief. Tyler Randerson started. He was injured, left the game in the second. Justin Schofield came in, gave Hill United some real quality innings before giving way to Marco Diaz in the 6th. And off the bat into the glove of Biondi, and there's one away. Third strikeout in relief for Marco Diaz, who faces Abierto Penuelas, the left fielder who earlier in the game was worried he was going to get hurt when he went right over the fence in search of a foul ball. And Diaz begins with a high rise. seen him on the radar today as high as 86, I believe. That one nearly at 85. Well, hope you've enjoyed the whole weekend as the top-ranked teams in the ISC have put on a good show, and Panuelos delivers a base hit as he punches it into left field. And with one out, the tying run comes to home plate in Tani Mumu. Mumu with 10 hits already this season. He's popped up a couple of times today. So you knew the Gremlins would have fight. Hani Mumu, the youngster from New Zealand. On the inside corner for a strike. Runners at the corners after the Panuelos base hit. And Mumu had a quality cut at the rise ball. And while he is known for his great speed, he is capable of taking one out of the park. He did so last weekend in a win over the Chippewa Chiefs. And a good battle between Diaz and Mumu. Tani hit .391 at the U23 World Cup earlier this year. The drop ball swung on and missed. And the Gremlins down to their last out. Nick Mullins, the batter, and he has one of their hits in the game. Third meeting of the year, and it has been a ring-a-ding-dong dandy, as the great Ed Whalen used to utter. Change up. Luna and the Hill United Chiefs have won the Canada East Tournament here in Mitchell. Bradley Ezekiel with a 3-run homer in the 8th, the key blow. And 3 Chiefs pitchers combine to shut out the Gremlins. We will be back with the trophy presentation here in Mitchell on the Father's Day Sunday on Softball Premier TV. The Hill United Chiefs with an extra inning. 3-0 victory over the rival Bear Creek Gremlins in a dynamite championship game. And when you consider the fact that Hill United trailed JDT First Energy earlier today in a semifinal 6-0, only to roar back and win that game 8-6. And then received great pitching and great defense. And one of the great hitters of all time, Bradley Ezekiel, blasted one, a 3-run drive in the extra inning, which was the game-winning hit. Is Blair Setford, a key member of the ISC, and of course you've heard Blair all weekend on Softball Premier TV as well. Will make a couple of presentations. Next weekend, as Blair's about to hand out some individual awards. Kuba Osichka, and he was terrific in this final. 6 2/3 innings, 11 strikeouts in the game before he gave way to Jack Besgrove. In the 7th, struck out 11, and he has really been a star in the first 2 weekends for the Gremlins. Lenny Villavazzo, and injured in the game after a base hit, had a massive walk-off home run to end the semifinal. And I'm just happy to see that left knee will allow him to even participate in him accepting his individual honor. And the captain and co-captain and Brad Ezekiel and Shane Bolin accept the championship trophy. Next weekend, Simcoe, Ontario. 12 teams for the Chief Challenge. It begins here on Softball Premier TV. Maybe even more importantly, if you are in the area, or even if you have to drive a few hours, it'll be another wonderful weekend of fast pitch softball. For Blair, Luciano, and Carol, my name is Peter Lubardius. So long from Mitchell, where the Hill United Chiefs have won the ISC Canada East Tournament. Bye now.